All right. Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Coffee Run with old Johnny here from ProCraps on Casino Gaming TV. We have a big morning ahead of us. I got a kind of a long 401 lecture today. I hate to call them lectures, but a long session on the 401 stuff today. Good to see a lot of familiar. Good to see Darksider back. I haven't seen you in a little while, bud. Good to see you here in the Daily Paycheck this morning, and of course here live with us now. And Louis here, of course. Louis is a great friend. And good to see him here. Hot and humid in Jersey today. It is hot and not humid here in Washington. We don't get humidity here. Yesterday it was like 97. It was like 103, I think, over the weekend. But there's no humidity. It's like zero humidity. We do get a little bit of thickness because there's a big fire north of us. So that kind of, makes it feel a little gross. But by and large, it's not that bad out here, even when it's hot. So anyway, let's get after here. Let's jump into the coffee run here. And the first thing to really talk through is this. And I think we mentioned it yesterday lightly, but today is the 1 year anniversary. He actually he passed away. Chiro did August 6th last year at about 11:55 p.m. So it's tonight, midnight my time, about 10 o'clock his time, is when he passed last year. And I'm wearing a shirt today, the Let's Yo shirt. I know Craig today is doing a special D8 table where, as you know, all the 11s that we roll go towards Layla's college fund. Layla is his daughter. She's 5 now. She was 4 when he passed last year. So a lot of good being done by Duracell 8 and by Craig to kind of keep that alive, keep that thing going, and we'll continue to raise money for her forever. I mean, Chiro's a guy who touched all of our hearts, and I think every year we'll kind of remember him on a day like today, right? So unfortunately, Chiro today cost me some money. The ill-timed 11s on the paycheck, I'm going to blame it on him. Give me the finger from wherever he is, just to say, hey, John, love you, but as he would probably do. But anyway, good dude, good man, good father, good husband, and a good friend. And I miss him. I miss him terribly. It's like he was such a, for those of you guys who didn't know him, he was just such an interesting, fun cat, like just loved life. And that laugh, right? That infectious laugh that he had, and like his channel, he was always like, what do I do? What do I do? He always had these crazy ideas, and he was just a fun guy who never stopped trying to be relevant. You know what I mean? I loved his Here's the Deal segments. I loved all of what he did, his great stories. So anyway, I miss Chiro desperately. So RIP, a lot of prayers in the chat. Let's have a quick moment of silence. Just have a quick silent moment here. And everybody just kind of put out there in the world what you remember about him. And if you want to come back from the moment of silence and put your favorite Chiro memory in chat, that'd be awesome. So let's go ahead. Yeah. For me, it's got to be the 7. It's got to be the 7 at Casino Quest. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget him and Chris, that whole battle they had. And I dealt every game of that battle, and it was a great, the battle royale. They had 5 matches, and they were great because we made them do right side, dark side, hybrid play, whatever. We forced them down different roads to kind of prove that they could win in all disciplines. And I knew Chiro to be more of a conservative player. His strategies were pretty conservative, but boy, he knew how to win in a tournament, man. That guy knew when to go all in. He was a tough competitor for Chris, and that was a hell of a match. And of course, he went all in. The one thing about that game we played, they had to go all in for one roll during the match. Somewhere they had to go all in. So he went all in on roll 1 at Casino Quest in the final battle and threw a come out 7. And burned $13,000 in one roll. He had $25. He had $25 in the pass line. It's all he had left. I'll never forget his face. I'll never forget all of our reactions. It was like an NBA game where all just like, oh my God, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. He handled it well, but I know it crushed him inside. Lou, fun loving guy. The no shirt stuff, right? Oh my gosh. Oh God, the favorite memory of Chiro was when we came on the show and talked about Missouri. That was fun. That Missouri show was fun. You guys were great guests that day. That was so much fun. Anyway, love Chiro. Good dude. Crystal and Layla, we love you guys, and we hope the best. I hope your family is. I know it's a rough day today, but I hope that that you're moving forward and that your lives are good. I showed you all last week the dog. We got to name the dog at Veterans Moving Forward after Chiro. So the dog that we raised money for the veterans that's being trained is named Moochie after Chiro. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's move ahead and talk about some crappy stuff. And my wife would say some crappy stuff. I have no Craps for the Cure update other than the date. We know that's the 19th. More to come again when Don's back from his trip. We'll get into some more of the details of it, and I'll have more information for you soon on that. But for right now, just know we have a good lock date in there. I want to talk daily paycheck with you today a little bit. We tried something new, and again, I don't normally do this because I've got my way of playing, and in fact, my typical way makes paycheck today, right? As it was, I said, hey, I watched one of Waylon's videos last night. Hey, let's try this Waylon thing, right? The simple little Waylon strategy. It was simple. 6, 7, 8. It's the 6 and the 8 and the 7 that don't pass, right? Working the come out, one hit on the 6 or 8, turn the bets off, let the don't ride itself out. Super simple strategy, right? Got whacked today. Let me actually show you. I'm going to show you Crapsy. I'm going to try and if I can get my screen to share correctly. Let's see here. If I can get the screen share, maybe not. Give me a second here to get this up. Where the hell's my... Is it here? Oh, there it is. Okay. So give me a second. I gotta actually make this a little bit bigger so you can see all of it. Hold on. Oh my goodness gracious. Can I zoom that in? A little bit, I guess. Should have prepped that a little better, but there's Crapsy for you. It's not the greatest view. It's kind of weird how it's cut off, isn't it? Can you see it okay? It's just weird how it looks. But anyway, there's the let's see if I do this. What if I do, hold on a second. I can't live with it being like that. There we go. Let's do that. Let's do that. And make it a little bit bigger. Okay, I can live with that now. All right, here's the rolls from today. And let's really look at what happened to me. Okay. And I was checking this out. Like, how did I lose $3,500 in a simple 6, 7, 8 strat? Well, number one, didn't follow all the rules. So let's make sure that we call that out, right? I was actually chatting with Waylon over text like 10 minutes ago. Like, dude, where did I screw this up, right? Well, first of all, I didn't ladder the losses. And to do it at my level, I probably should have had more bankroll. But what happened to me is this. We look at the roll distribution. You can see that we had, what's going on there? When the puck was on, we had 8 sevens. The puck was off, we had 10 sevens, which means I had 2 come out sevens, right? The 2 come out sevens cost you. The 6, the 8, and the 7 all lose. The don't pass and the 6 and 8, because they're working, you lose all 3 bets. I had them out there at $300, okay? Which means we lost $900 twice on the come out 7. We also had 2 come out 11s, okay? Which cost you on the don't. So that's $600 there. So we lost 900, 1,800 plus 600. That's $2,400 lost just on the come out, okay? My total loss for the day, hold on one second, let me check. We have $4,500, 55, 65. We lost $2,500 today, okay? My net loss today was $2,500. Look at the come out, just the come out, okay? $2,400 on the come out loss today. Should not be working the come out. And I'll show this to Waylon. Shouldn't have worked the come out. Now, yeah, we got a couple of come out points that were 8s, right? That fine. But that come out game is almost the exact amount was lost on the come out. Now, I didn't ladder, right? I could have gone from the $900 out there to $1,800 out there, and the laddering may have worked. I would have needed a massive amount of bankroll. Maybe tomorrow I'll go out with double the bankroll. We'll try it with a ladder just to see. But that was one part of it that was a mess. The come out sequence crushed us. We didn't get the 6s or 8s as we roll it. Hey, Waylon, how you doing? So yeah, the come out sequence was a nightmare. Now, could you hedge and have a different come out game? Sure, right? Something if you wanted to rip out $100 on the come out and say, look, we'll go 25, 25, 25 on the reds, right? And $25 on the yo on the come out, and say we're going to go with $1,000 even on the come out. And every come out roll, you're burning $100. If you don't get a 7 or 11, you're burning it. But if you catch one, you're going to be okay. The sevens pay for themselves. The sevens pay for the don't, not the other two. That's a possibility at that level to at least hedge the don't pass coming out. And maybe for that reason, you don't work the 6 and 8. I don't know. Working it all, to me, was the biggest difference today. We caught a terrible rhythm on the come out. And matter of fact, my very first throw of the day was a 7. So we started out, boom, down $1,000. And the thing is, trying to win 1,500, $300 at a time, because that's what our wins were. We had $300 on 6 and 8. Trying to win $300 5 times, hard enough. When you go down $1,000, you're adding 3.5 wins to that. Now I got to win 8 to 9 times to get the paycheck. The second come out 7 that costs us another $1,000 changes the math completely. Now instead of having to win 8 times or 5 times, I got to win 12 times just to get back to even. Now we got all the way back to within about $1,500 of even. We fought back pretty hard after the come outs, right? So I think there's a sweet spot in there of laddering loss when it's a full loss and not working the come out. There's a sweet spot in there somewhere that works for that. Because even if it's a PSO, you only losing $300, right? Not working the come out and letting the 6 and 8 ride during the roll might be a little bit of I don't know. Tomorrow I may roll it out with a little different flavor to it just to get a sense of it. I wanted to put it to live rolls. The other thing to note about this, and I've said this before, and I know Waylon's here in chat, so good morning, Waylon, and everybody else. I want to say this, and this is not an attack on Waylon or anything, but this way of playing to me has one major problem. Not so much this exact strategy, but when you're doing a grindy kind of thing, a lot of Waylon stuff is kind of grindy. A lot of stuff that I've done in the past, very grindy, right? The 66, skill 66, a grindy way of making some money, right? You're going to win $6 or whatever. The thing with those ways of playing is that it takes a long time, right? One thing I don't think people notice that I do when you watch a Waylon's Way Craps video, when he's rocking a strategy out like this, right? Count the rolls, right? Yeah, he wins a ton. The strategies are strong. They survive these long sessions. But look at the number of rolls that it takes him to get to where he is. Today's a good example. Look at the screen here. We had a total of 49 rolls today, right? 49 rolls. 49 rolls. That's a lot of rolls. That's 8 shooters worth of time at the table. Now, I did it in 45 minutes. In real life, that's probably 2 hours of grind, right? Today didn't work, even if it did work, right? Even if it did have a better outcome, the grind of 8 shooters and 50 rolls is really, really hard to do on the regular. I find that a thing that is hard for me to get behind, right? If I'm trying to paycheck it out, those long sessions tend to play into the house edge. They tend to play into the more consistent small losses that the casino is looking for. I know that I play a more volatile way, but for me, the more volatile way gets me out quicker. I'd rather take the punch in the face than have you pull out my hairs with tweezers all day long, right? And that's kind of what this felt like today, was getting my hair pulled out. And again, I think the come out loss made that worse because I started out about, I think it was $1,800 behind in the first 5 or 6 rolls today. We can actually wind it back. If I wind back, come out 7, set a point of 8, knock the don't pass off. So we lost on the first come out roll. You see down here, we lost that $900 in the come out. We set a point of 8, which gave us $350, right? Then we knocked the 8 off. So we got nowhere. Set a point of 8, got a 6, knocked the 8 off again. 2 come out 11s and then come out 3 was good, and then a PSO. So no love in there. The rhythm we struck in the early stage of this thing put us so far behind, we never can get back. Never getting back from that, right? You end up putting yourself at roll 15 or 16 where you need to get, even if you're laddering your loss, you're going to need another 10 wins before a loss to get it right. again, the rolls today didn't help us out, but again, grinding, I say this all the time. Go back to the other screen. I say it all the time, how important it is to know your numbers, right? I said you have to know your numbers, know where you are in the moment. Like, how much am I up or down right now, including what's on the table? What do I need to get to my goal? And when you lose, you're like, oh shit, now my goal is not the 3 hits I thought it was. It's 9. And that may change your maybe that's why you ladder. Maybe that's why you change it up. Maybe that's why you do something different for a few minutes and come back to the grind. A lot of things to consider there. And I hope that over the course of this series we've done, this Gambling 101 to 401 series, that I've given you a lot of things to think about. That when you watch me play a thing like that, you go, okay, granted, I know all the hedging that I could do, but also sense danger here, sense danger there. I'm going to make this change, that change, and do this, right? You start to see things, right? Over time, and it's ways to manage money less than ways to put your bets out there. I think that's where you start seeing some stuff. So, yeah, many times a long grind is how you win, for sure. I find that long grinds to me are how do I say this right? A long grind, it plays into the house more often than it plays into you, and that's a thing to consider. And again, I referenced that one roulette video that I showed you from the video is called from a guy named Numberphile, where he really does put it home, right? If you've got a bet on banker or player or in Bach or red or black in roulette, one person is going to put all their money on red. One person's going to take out of $100, they're going to bet $1 on red every single time, right? Who has the best chance of making $100, right? Or let's say that person got $1,000. They're going to bet, or I'm sorry, $10,000. They have $10,000 betting $100 on red. They're going to grind out the wins, right? That person has a 1% chance of making $100. The other person's got a 50% chance of making it, right? It's going to sting. If they don't get it, it's going to hurt, right? But they're going to get it half the time. The other person almost never gets it. That's when I watched that one, and again, I'm old enough and wise enough to say I can learn something new in my old age. That video changed the way I view a lot of things, because you don't think about it that way. Yeah, it's a lot of money, a lot of risk, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have a 50-50 shot at it than a 1 out of 100 shot at it, right? And that's kind of what it comes down to. Yeah, so you need massive bankroll to ladder up the bets, right? And this is where ladders come into play. And I said it before, bankroll matters, right? Bankroll matters. And let's actually talk about, let's get into our session today. And this is really the last time we're going to talk Gambling 401. Really, I got a couple more things I want to have some fun with, but really it's the last like kind of teaching session. So I want to go over all the points that we always make, but I want to go over them in kind of a little bit more kind of review detailed form. Okay. And here we are in our 22nd session in the gambling series, right? And today we're going to make an attempt to put it all together. And I don't mean to give you like the actual answer, but I want you to think about what it means to put all the things I've ever told you, we've ever talked about as a group on all of these shows, Craps Chat shows, everything else we've done. Let's put it all together. And why are we here? And I give you the statement, right? Your goal statement. I gave this to you way back, and I want you to revisit it today. Okay. Fill in the blanks for yourselves. In this, let's call it a session. In this session, I'm willing to risk, I'll use today. In this daily paycheck show, I'm willing to risk $7,000 to win $1,400 by playing Wayland's 678 so that I can lock up the daily paycheck. I can build my bankroll, right? The reasoning is all here. I'm going to scope it to a session or a trip. I'm going to scope my risk. I'm going to state my win goal. I'm going to state what game and strategy I'm playing, and I have a reason for being there. In this session, I'm going to risk $7K to win $1,500 by playing the 678 so that I can build my bankroll. Done. That right there, that statement right there that I make every time I go to the casino, and so should you, sets you up for success or failure. Okay? By making bad decisions, by putting the wrong things in the blanks, one can be a bad decision, but by not having a statement like this can be the worst decision you could make by going there with no plan, right? I think having a plan is a big part of it, right? And your goal is part of it. What is the why? Why are you there, right? Are you bankroll building? Are you looking for steady, consistent, relatively low risk wins to build a bankroll, right? Are you paycheck playing it? Are you going there on some regular basis or even like on a weekend? Am I going there to pay for stuff, right? If I'm doing daily paycheck, if I move to Vegas, right, and Dan and I are neighbors, Dice Dr. Dan and I become neighbors, and I go every day, am I going there to pay my bills? Am I going there to win extra money, right? I'm going there every day to win some extra cash so that me and Kathy can go out to dinners and do the shows, and it's like that, right? Or am I going, like I've done in the past, to go win a thing, right? One day I found that great base here. I'll even show it to you. A little diversion here, but I saw this base right here at a pawn shop. Like, that is a Traben base. You don't see these very often. There's on camera. You don't see these very often. This is a weird collector's item base. Like, that thing is freaking awesome. It happened to be in a pawn shop, and I'm like, my God, that's cool. I went to the casino to win the money to buy that damn thing. And then after I literally I said, honey, I'm going to buy me a new base. Go to the casino, right? Whatever it was, $475, whatever it was that I won that day was for the base, right? That was a paycheck play. I went up there to earn money to do a thing. And I got lucky that day. Hit a big 6 and 8. I got lucky, right? But again, the goal that day was I'm going to the casino for one session with $500 to double my money to buy this base. And that's exactly what I did. And what I did was I played an aggressive 6-7-8 or an aggressive 6-8 system. That's what I did. I hammered the 6 and 8. Right? Are you going for a one night stand? Going out for a few hours with the wife? Go out to go to see a show at a concert at a casino, and you're going to play a while, right? I'm only going to be there for a few hours, but I'm going to hit it really hard. I'm not there for a purpose. I'm not there trying to build my bankroll. I'm trying to have some fun, right? Am I going for a meetup? Am I going to Vegas for DiceCon or the Big AZ, big meetup, or Craps for the Cure, where I'm going to be there for 2 or 3 days with a bunch of friends, and it's going to be wild and crazy and not very disciplined, right? Many sessions over many days. That's a different kind of a goal, right? Your way of playing there is different. You're not necessarily going to go hog wild. You might be bringing ATS money to go ATS or going side bet crazy, right? Instead of regular betting, that your strategies may change based on why you're going, right? If you're going for a cruise, 7 days on a boat, and your number one job is to earn enough money to pay for the cruise that you're on and maybe pay for the next one, then you can go. Your goals are different. The way that you play is different. So having that in mind ahead of time is important, right? And know your numbers. Again, the goal statement has it there. I'm willing to risk X to win Y. That's my win goal and my loss limit. Okay. You might put a time limit on it. You might say, I'm just going to play for half an hour. Some guys do it. I know guys, I'm playing for half an hour and that's it. Or I'm playing for 30 rolls and that's it. But I'm going to do what I'm doing for 30 rolls or 10 rolls or whatever, and I'm done. Right? Whatever the number is, you better know that coming into it. Okay. Now, we've talked about this before. Once you have a goal, you pick the strategy that matches the goal. Right? This is one of Jacob's, from Wager Me This, most famous statements, right? Your strategy accounts for your wins. The way that you play accounts for your wins. What is a strategy? I know strategy is kind of a hot button word. For some reason, people don't like the word strategy. They think that it's got some negative connotation to it. I don't care. Strategies to me are just what this is. It's what am I betting on? How much am I betting? What am I doing with the wins? And what do I do when I lose? That's a strategy. Okay. You can give it a name. You can call it the green coffee cup dominator. I don't care what you call the strategy. It's what are you betting on? How much are you betting? What do you do with the wins? How about the losses? That's it. Today I played a 6-7-8. I bet on the 6 and 8 and the don't pass. I same bet it every single time. That was how I handled my wins. My losses, I cried instead of laddering. That's a way to account for your wins. Okay. You got to work backwards from that. If you've got a specific goal in mind, how many wins does it take to get to a goal at each dollar amount? If my goal is to win, let's say I'm in for $500, I'm looking to win $100, right? If I'm going to only have $10 bet sizes, I need 10 wins or 5 wins to get 50 or 10 for 100. If I want to optimize against that and say, I want to be here for less time, then I can do it in 4 wins and win a quarter each time. Bigger bets, bigger wins, optimize for time, right? You can optimize your strategy, the way that you decide to play, how much you want to put at risk. Optimize for time, bigger bets, less time. You can optimize for exposure, lower bets, less exposure, right? You can optimize for wax. I'm going to play only the 6 and the 8, or only 1 dozen, or I'm going to play 2 dozens plus a street, or I'm going to play all the way across on a craps table. You can optimize to get less things that beat you, to have less or more money out there, or less or more time. You can't get all 3, right? It's impossible. If you could optimize for all 3, you'd be a winner, right? You can't. We used to say this in the food industry, right? You can have it good, you can have it right, or you can have it fast, right? Or you have it good, cheap, or fast. You can't get all 3. Software works the same way. I cannot give you an application fast and cheap, right? With it being right. If it's fast and cheap, it's going to be broke, right? If it's fast and correct, it's going to be super expensive. I'm going to hire 55 people to do it. This is the same thing. You cannot get all 3. Optimize what you are most passionate about, or optimize what works best for your way of playing. But work backwards and know those numbers really fast, okay? Now, the bankroll, again, to follow that same point, is how you account for your losing. Your strategy accounts for how you want to win. Your bankroll accounts for how you're going to handle those losses, okay? And again, based on how you optimized your strategy, if you optimized for time or exposure or wax, the bankroll gives you the answers to these questions. How many times can I try what it is I'm trying to try? How many beatings can I take? Okay. Can I chase loss? Do I have enough bankroll to try a loss chasing system like a Marty or the Labashare or whatever, right? Can I battle back with the same strategy, or given a loss, does my bankroll dictate that I switch? Good example. Okay. Today I went out with a strategy on my daily paycheck show with a $7,000 bankroll that the very first roll of the dice cost me $1,000 because I was working the come out and threw a come out 7. My next move was to do the exact same thing, which means I can try it again, but I got it. My loss meter went up, right? I could have gone out with a much bigger bet, right? $3,000 across on the craps table and taken a hit for $750 or $800 or whatever it was that would have came on that next roll. I think it was an 8. I would have won $700, right? Which recovers most of that loss in the one big thing, right? Your bankroll says, can I try that or not? And if I want to try that, cool. Handle my loss. The bankroll says yes or no to that question. And then I can go back to the regular system, right? The marriage of your bankroll and your strategy is a true marriage. And true marriages are not always here. Sometimes they're here. Sometimes they're here. Sometimes they're off camera, right? When you're incompatible, it's catastrophic. And if you pick the wrong strategy for the wrong goal with the wrong bankroll, if you don't match all that stuff up, you're going to have a tough time. You cannot do a ladder strategy with a tiny bankroll. You just can't do it, right? $10 bet size, $500 bankroll. It's almost impossible to ladder with more than one bet, right? If you try and do something where it's multiple bets and bigger sizes with a tiny bankroll, you're going to get thumped every single time. It's a catastrophe for you. You got to marry all of it together, right? The right bankroll, the right strategy, and the right goal. Those 3 things are the magic. That's the magic formula. I hate to say it like that, to winning, right? It's the magic formula to your marriage too, right? You find the things that make the marriage tick in your home life, and you make them work together. But by being incompatible in multiple areas, you're going to have major problems, right? This is the same thing, folks. And I think that's the most important point that I can make, is that find the ones that play well together. If your goal is to triple your bankroll and you're playing, the headless horseman, you're never going to get there. It's the wrong goal for the wrong strategy, and you're going to be really pissed off when you lose your money, right? It's just an important way to think through it, okay? Bankroll is not just about making betting decisions, okay? We had a whole session or 2 or 3 on this way back about managing your money. I taught you my bank accounting system, the multiple bank accounts that I maintain to manage my gambling life, right? None of that money, by the way, touches my life, right? I made this statement a while back. I'm going to stop gambling for a while because I had lost my job. We were buying a house. It was the whole thing, right? Like, you know what? I'm not going to touch it. I have money in the bank set aside for gambling, but I'm not going to use it, right? Managing your money is an important piece of it. in your actual bank and at the tables. If you have a stack of chips on a blackjack table or a rack of chips on the craps table, the way that you manage your money and pay attention to what you're up, what you're down, where it is, and how it's going, if you're not playing some kind of a profit lock and play with the excess system, you're going to have a problem staying alive in this game or in any game at the casino. You've got to use your bankroll smartly. So again, your bankroll answers your how to bet questions. It also is the driver for the way you manage yourself. And I think having your fingers kind of in the pot all the time and managing your money in strict focus, I think is wickedly important. So manage your money. Your bankroll is a big part of this whole thing. We've talked about mindset too. And I ask you this question right off the bat. Are you strong enough to do it? Right? It's okay if you're not. It's okay if you want to be a degen. It's okay if you want to go to Vegas and just light 10 grand on fire. It's cool. If you got the 10 grand to light on fire, that's cool. Right? If you're looking to win more consistently, more regularly, take a lot less whacks, right? All the stuff we talk about is fantastic, right? It's all good. And if it's going well, going poorly, right? There's something that's keeping you there, right? And I think that this is an important piece. Your mindset is the thing, right? The casino plays games with you, right? We've talked about this, right? The oxygen, the smells, the waitresses, the free drinks, and all the atmosphere, right? Everything there is kind of going against you, right? Besides the game itself being against you, okay? I think though, you can be your own distraction. And I say this with all sincerity. Clarity and focus eliminates stupid mistakes and adds to house edge, right? They've already got the edge on you. They're already pumping in music. They're already got the good smelling air. They've already got the free drink. They have all these things that are trying to make the house edge more valuable to them. In other words, if you play into the house edge, come bets or whatever, right? You're not going to make a lot. They're not going to make a lot of money. But if you're doing that plus a bunch of dumb shit because of all what's going on, they can help you make poor decisions. You got to be focused, right? Your mindset. I'm going there with that goal statement to do my thing, and I'm going to stay on task. You go in there with the idea of staying on task, you're going to be okay-ish. You're not going to be okay and win all the time. You're going to be less apt to do something dumb and lose more than you ought to. That's an important piece of it. So your mindset, I think, is part of how it brings together. And all of that comes home with discipline. I talk discipline all the time, right? Discipline, here's the definition, right? It's being able to behave and work in a controlled way, right? That involves obeying rules. The rules that you set for yourself. I am willing to risk X doing Y to win Z. If you change the variables in between there, you change the strategy partway through, you change the win goal partway through, you decide that you're going to go for 100% loss instead of 50% loss partway through, you're killing yourself on discipline. Discipline, stick to that plan, right? Discipline mind, you're rational, you're not tribal, you're not getting into the vibe, right? You're making informed decisions and you're thinking critically all the time. Discipline is kind of it's the tether that makes all that other stuff work. You can have the best strategy, the biggest bankroll, the clearest mind. And if you fall prey to having no discipline, it's all for naught. Throw it all in the garbage can and just hand them your money. This is a key to it, right? Again, there's a reason why I say this all the time. I get unlucky on my daily Paycheck Show a lot. I get unlucky. It happens, right? There's unluck, but you'll almost never see me rail dump and just go balls to the wall and lose all my money. If I do that, I call it out ahead of time and say, hey guys, I'm about to go crazy here. Knowingly, we're on a show. I'm going to try something to see what happens. I'll tell you ahead of time. In a real casino, I'm home right now, but because we're on a show, I will do a thing. If you're going to fall prey to that, then none of the lectures we've ever done make any difference. Discipline's where it's all at. You got to bring it all together, right? Your goal sheet, your strategy, your bankroll, your mindset, having discipline, and then all the ancillary, like the grout in the bricks that make up your gambling life, the knowledge of the game that you're playing. You better know everything about that game. Don't play Baccarat unless you know the rules. Don't play blackjack unless you got that card memorized, right? Don't play craps or roulette and make bets if you don't know the odds and probabilities of what you're doing. Don't do it, right? you better embrace variance, right? The probabilities never work out perfectly. You're always going to be in a variant. It's your ride or die. For most people, it's a die, not a ride. And I'm telling you that right now. Most people bet on gambler's fallacy. They do all things, I hate to say do things wrong, but when you don't understand how variance works and what it is that you're actually experiencing, it's your ride or die. Don't die with it. Ride it. Ride it. Find a way to be low when the variant is going against you and up when the variant changes course. Find a way that works in that circumstance, or one hit and out. Quick hitters that avoid variance altogether. You got to be thinking through that. Have a reasoned, logical plan. Know the theory of what you're doing. Why does a 6, 7, 8 work? Not just the fact that Jacob told me to play it that way, or Waylon's Way Craps put a video out. I'm doing what he said. Okay, that's quote unquote knowledge. That's not understanding the theory. Why does that work? Why does Waylon in the 6, 7, 8 strategy have the don't pass at the same bet size as the 6 and 8? Why is it a $12 6 and 8 and a $12 don't? Why isn't it just a $12 6 and 8 and a $10 don't? Why? There's a reason for that. You better understand the theory and the logic behind what you're doing. Don't just go out there, watch a video, take some notes, and put your paycheck on the table. That's an important bit to all this. It's a discipline piece. It's a practice piece. Remember, above all else, we are gambling. Okay? There's no secret here. There's no perfect way to win. There's no guarantees. There is risk. Okay? Make sure you can afford the risk. Okay? But if you're not willing to risk, you're not going to win. You got to take some risk if you want to win. Even a stable, low volatility play like a come bet with some odds involves risk. Even a one hit and down involves risk for a short period of time. If you don't get that, if you're not willing to embrace the risk, don't go. If you can't afford what you have set aside in your goal statement, don't go. It's important, okay? The best laid plans of mice and men, they say, right? Solve your puzzle. Solve your puzzle. The answers in the blanks below in this session. I'm willing to risk 1,000 to win 100 by playing come bets with odds so that I can build my bankroll. Whatever that statement is for you, those blanks are different for every player. Everybody watching this video has got different things that go in those blanks. Maybe and likely those blanks are different for you every time you go to the casino. If you're going for a cruise ship for a week, if you're going out for a night with friends, if you're going for a coffee run in the morning, those blanks are different. Okay. And again, find the strategy that matches the goal in your bankroll that best fit and produce what you're looking for when you make your goal statement. That's the most important thing. You got to do that. You got to practice, right? You got to know what works and what doesn't. That's why I love a thing like Crapsy or some of these online roulette simulators. Put your stuff to the test. Play it every day. Don't go to the casino not knowing what's going to happen. What I did today on Daily Paycheck, I had no idea what was going to happen. I'd never run it before. I wanted to see what was going to happen. This is a practice session. It's like, let's see what happens when this, I'm going to see what it is, right? The questions you have to ask yourself as you're putting your goal sheet together. What is the fastest or safest or easiest or low risk or high risk, whatever, way to win $100 with a stated loss of 500? If that's your number, I want to win 100, I'm going to risk 5. Cool. What's the fastest way to do that? What's the safest way to do it? What's the easiest way to do it? What's the most low risk way to do it? Right? Know that. That's a question you have to ask yourself before you go out there. What's the best way to play with $500 for 4 hours? Think about that. You're going to be at the casino for 4 hours. You got your time to kill, right? You only have $500 to do it. 4 hours is at least 200 resolutions. It's at least 200 hands of blackjack, 50 hands an hour, maybe more than that, right? Probably more than that, right? Roulette table is for sure. It's about 50 an hour, right? The craps table, maybe 45 to 50 throws an hour. Think about that. 200 resolutions in 4 hours. You may not even process that until I just said it, right? We think of hours and shooters and blah, blah, blah. 4 hours is probably 200 to 250 times your bets get resolved. That's a lot, man. That is a lot. What is the best way to do it with $500 that I can last the five? So I can at least, even if I'm willing to say light it on fire, that I can peter the $500 out over the course of 4 hours, right? Think of that. How can I make $3,500 last for 3 days with a group of buddies, right? What's the best way to hit a home run if I don't care about the bankroll, right? What's my best home run strategy? If I'm going to go there with buddies and I'm saying, you know what, I don't care, I'm just going to home run it, right? What's the best way to get that done? Those are some simple questions that only you can answer based on what you've tried. The answers depend on your game, baccarat, roulette, craps, whatever, sports betting. It depends on your goal, right? Depends on your brain, depends on your experience you're trying to have. All those things come into play, right? You can have all the tools through the entire series we've done. You've got thousands of other YouTube videos out there giving you all these different ways to play. You got to find what speaks to you, right? Of all the lessons I've given you, I guarantee you, and there's been I've done 90 episodes from Gambling 101 to today. 90 episodes on this stuff. 90. Can you believe that? 90 lectures we've given? Maybe 3 of those touched your soul. Cool. Put that into practice, please. Maybe you watched 4 or 5 videos. Find the ways that speak to you and practice them. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about practice. How do you practice a strategy? How do you practice throwing? How do you practice whatever it is you're trying to do, right? Practice makes perfect. Perfect still equals a loss at the casino over time. Remember that. Perfect still equals a loss. We're trying to limit the amount of loss and maximize the amount of win. Maybe you come out here. I feel like over my lifetime, I've come out a little bit ahead because I've maximized my wins. I've had a couple of badass wins and a whole bunch of little tiny losses, right? All of what I'm talking about, that's the way that works, right? It's discipline mindset. It's bankroll. It's playing ways that match what I'm trying to do. It's so important. Old Bay Craps, when I last 4 hours at $500, I'll let you know, hey, it's not that hard. It isn't that hard. You can do it. You got to be willing to do it though, right? Be willing to do it. If you got a bunch of friends at a table, there's no shame. Honestly, there's no shame in dropping a $10 pass line bet and letting it sit there on a craps table. You're going to get 8 shooters an hour on average, right? 8 shooters throw about 8 rolls per. 50 rolls an hour is the average. 8 shooters an hour, you're going to get $80 at risk over the hour. You're going to win about half those bets. So $40, that'll last you 4 hours. It's easy to do if you don't have to do all this shit and be a part of all the crazy. You can make it last if you're willing to make it last. And again, if your goal is, I'm willing to risk $500 to win nothing so that I can last 4 hours with my friends, cool. The strategy I'm going to play today is a pass line without odds. Fine. It's cool. You're not going to go out there with a $100 field bet and try and last 5 hours with it or 4 hours. That's just right. That's the confluence of stupidity and not marrying things right. That's what I was saying earlier, where it's a catastrophe if things don't match. If your goal is to last 5 hours with $500 and you're betting $100 in the field, catastrophe. You're never going to last 5 hours. $10 in a pass line, you'll last 5 hours. That's the things you got to be thinking about, right? Put it all. You have the knowledge. You all have the knowledge. I've given you everything I can give you. I've given you my entire soul here, right? So put it all together. Find ways to put all that together, make the best marriage for you, and fill in that goal sheet every time you go mentally, right? And make it work. That's what I got to say. I think it's our last slide. So let me go through and I'm going to check out questions. That was a good session today. Any questions? No questions. Any PCs? There are no PCs. He says, see Waylon's comment directly above. I don't know which one that is. Let's do, how am I going to find that comment, Dan? Let's see. There's no comments. Let's see. Waylon says I need $50K to ladder up $1,000 bets for sure. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I think I might have mentioned $1,000 earlier, not on the bet size. I was talking about what the spread was, right? The spread was $1,000. Yeah, to ladder, go from 900 to 2,000. There's no way, man. You need so much money to get out that. It's tough. Let's see. Dan is asking Jen about the 6 and 8 after. I'm not seeing any questions for me. So let's see. Some days it's easy, some days nothing works, and that's a fact. I say that's a fact. Darksider says also that's a fact. There are days where it ain't your day. I saw a comedian once. He did this thing. He said Congress passed the the Back in My Day Act of 1937, you know, like back in my day, whatever. 100% things will work and not work. And there's a law that says that no matter what we say, when you roll it out live, it's going to fail. Like I don't think I've ever run a strategy for the first time and had it work out of the gate. You have to kind of play around with it. Let's see. Louis says, marriage is like a casino. You go in excited and optimistic, but end up leaving drunk, broke, and talking to yourself. I saw this on a t-shirt. That's pretty damn funny. You know this, though. My wife and I, on last Thursday, we celebrated our 30th, right? 30 years together. And I can tell you, there are some incompatibilities there, right? There is with everybody. But we have found a way, like not with a goal sheet like that one for the gambling, but we found a way to say, look, we're willing to do this. I will concede on this. I will push hard on this. And we both do that. And like the goal is to raise two great kids, put them through private school, get them through college, produce two productive adults, and buy a new house and retire. That was our goals. We did all that. We did everything we set out to do, right? Because we stated it and we committed to it. And we picked ways of interacting. We picked ways of managing our money. We picked ways of getting through life that met our goals, that were compatible with the goals, even though we aren't always compatible with each other. I think it's an important thing. Marriages are tough. There's no storybook endings, right? You got to work, and work in a marriage is like working in a casino. That's a good example there, Louis. James also echoes me. Welcome back, Darksider. Good to see you back again. I miss our little arguments sometimes, right? Sometimes we don't always agree, but we're always on the same team, which is important. Tom says, grinding out a profit means time at the table. Don't look a good horse profit in the mouth. Leave when you're up. True. If you're going to grind it out, Waylon says this all the time. A, be satisfied, right? And B, know where you are. How many times, if you watch a Waylon's Waycrafts video, he says it every time. Don't forget where you are in your rack. Don't forget, rack plus table is what you got. Okay, so there it is. That's an important thing. I will roll out laddering, if not in profit, tomorrow. I'll probably go 150, not 120 though, Waylon. I'll go 150, 300, 450, like that. It's just easier on the payouts. I'll go 150 on the bets, and that's how we'll do it. Let's try it. We'll try it tomorrow. We'll try it again with that. Okay, we'll make this like a trial run week. Okay, let's give it a whirl and see what happens. Let's see. Going through more comments here. Talking to each other. Let's see. 100%, Tom. I've actually invited Jacob too. I think once we get our 100K, what I might do actually is make the daily paycheck show like me for the first 5 minutes doing my 2 hits and down, getting my paycheck, and then taking a second bankroll with a guest, if it's Waylon or Jacob or whoever, and running a second bankroll through a paycheck series. So I'll do my own, and then we'll do a thing with two of us working through it. That would be a great show. I think it's a really good idea. And I was talking about that last week to Jacob as well. I think it'd be kind of fun for sure. Let's see, going through other comments. There's nothing else that I really see that I've missed. Tom says, instinct, awareness, patience, discipline. I did cover a lot of ground, right? And it's been a long time. Like I said, this is show 23 of this series. We've done 101, 201, 301, 401. There's been at least 20 shows in each one of those. It's 80 something shows. Plus I've got some rollouts that I did. Plus we got some top 10 lists coming up. It's a lot, man. It's been a long series. But again, it's like I was telling some friends, like, I just want to get it out. I want to say everything I got to say the best way that I can say it and get it on video. And then it's like, I can always refer you back to class 33 of whatever, I can always do that. At some point we'll have it on lock. So that is the idea. So, yes, okay. There's Dan giving me the correction. I will do that for sure. All right. I think that's it. PC Dan says, I'm on side-by-side paycheck, but I would want 3 days worth. Yeah, for sure. If we do it, I'd have you on for like a week. Let's do it like if we do it together, let's do it for a week. And like I said, I'll do my thing, and then we'll do a joint bankroll for a week. That'd be kind of fun to do that. There we go. Old basis. If I could hug you through the screen, I would. I'd hug you right back. I really would. All right, guys, let's get out of here. It's about 9 o'clock. It's time I have to get to my day job. I am working, so I have to have an actual job that starts at 9. So I'll see you I'll see you tomorrow for, I think we're doing practice tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be a show on Thursday. Potentially Friday follies will have our typical fun, but get your questions queued up for me and we'll have a fun Friday. In the meantime, God bless everybody. Happy Tuesday, and I will see you mañana. Bye, all.